So, GBU happened, வந்தாச்சு போயாச்சுன்னு இல்ல, but it's here and it's making its waves. So, today we are going to be discussing just that. And to discuss this, we have got two special guests once again for Masala Thoughts on very, very short notice, but they still pulled up. A special thanks to Sharmikha and Saiju. Saiju all the way from Switzerland. So as far as I know, right now, this session is divided equally with AK fans and non-AK fans, so it should be a fairly balanced discussion. So let's get straight into it, right? The first thing I'm going to ask all of you is, does the film work for you or not, right? பெருசா சொல்ல தேவையில்ல, but okay, did you enjoy it or not, basically? And we'll start with our guests. Sharmika, do you want to take the floor?
Yeah, why not? GBU. I mean, first ஒரு சூர்யா fan கிட்ட கேக்குறீங்க பரவாயில்ல, but I mean, it didn't really work out much for me. But I feel like maybe if I went with my mom on a afternoon show at PVR, so maybe like அதுக்கே நீங்க கழுவி ஊத்தலாம்.
PVR போனதே
But it was
தப்பு.
இல்ல, but then okay, வெட்டியா இருக்கேன் அந்த டைம்ல போனேன் நான் என்ன பண்ணிடுறேன், right? So, but it was okay, right? I mean, I don't think, anyways, I'm not a big fan of Adik's work. So I find that loud is too much for me to even enjoy the movie, right? So I had that same expectation. And I thought, okay, maybe like Mark and பார்த்தேன், but it wasn't exactly like that. So I was okay. I wouldn't say it's a bad film, but it didn't really work out for me, is what I would say.
Mm. And Saiju,
Mm.
as the senior army over here.
Exactly, bro. That's what. So I've seen more shit, bro. And the last 10 years has been, the least say, no, it's been tragic. Let's be honest, right, brother? Like, we know to சிவாவை எங்களை வச்சு செஞ்சுட்டு போனதுக்கு பிறகு like எவன் அடிச்சாலும் தாங்குற அளவுக்கு வந்துட்டோம். So my expectations was really based on Mark Antony. I'll be honest, I loved Mark Antony from the beginning to the end. I thought it was really good, but like the conceptual wise. And because of that, I was very disappointed with GB. Not gonna lie, I was very எனக்கு ஏதோ upgraded சிவா மாதிரி தான் இருந்துச்சு. அந்த first half எல்லாம் எனக்கு செட்டே ஆகல. Like first 40 minutes was horrendous, to be honest, right? It was like watching a Siva movie all over again. But it had its moments, and the quirky humor obviously worked for me, like Adik's strong suit. But as a film, bro, I gotta be honest, it didn't work. But வலிமை விவேகம் பார்த்தவனுக்கு ஜிபியு எல்லாம் இன்னும் இன்டர்செல் அளவு தான். ஸோ அதால எனக்கு ஓகே. I mean, as like it's always nice to see AK on screen, right? So I mean, because of that, just purely because of AK. So yeah, but as a movie, bro, it was pretty bad for me. Not gonna lie.
So we'll move to Dharani now from our side. So me and Dharani have been hotly debating this film since like the 10th of April.
Yeah,
So
it was
Dharani,
just
here's your chance to codify everything.
yeah. So I've actually been wanting to talk about this film. Usually I just go on the group chat and like trigger Hari and then he goes off on me. But anyways, like I'm not a fan of Adik's work. So obviously I didn't have expectations for the film. Honestly, I was very disappointed. Like, although I'm a Surya fan, I really like Ajith and Tala. But this was just disappointing. I think, okay, brain rot எடுக்கிறீங்க, but அது brain rot-ஆவே இருந்திருக்கலாம். It's like, it's not brain rot, it's not serious, it's somewhere in the middle and it just doesn't work. Like, I think what worked with Mark Antony was, okay, it is an unserious film, you take it that way. But then here it's like, you don't know where you are, you're just like, in the middle எல்லாம் கூப்பிட்டு ஒரு மாதிரி திகட்டுற மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபீலிங் இருந்துச்சு. So it just didn't work for me at all. Hari,
So I'm gonna have perhaps the most hot take of this entire group. But to set context, I had watched this film in a packed theater, 4 a.m. first day for show. Spent 1 hour driving all the way to Vattala to get that authentic crowd. Woke up at 2 a.m. and it was like a proper feral crowd. So in that context, I had an absolute blast in the theater, right? That first watch that I had, like it was just there was nothing going through my head. It was just non-stop screaming. And the best part, best or worst part is like that was just the tail end of a cold I had. And I went ahead and like ruined my throat all over again, right? I had an absolute blast because for me, that first 5 minutes was like, okay, Adik was being very upfront. Okay, this is a nonsensic. There's no logic to this film. Like, he just presents the most wackiest thing ever. I mean, in Mark Antony, the screenplay was still very, very smart, right? Even though it was a quirky film, but this is just straight up like ridiculousness. And even though like I'd say the first 30 minutes, like, was kind was really not much happening. I think like the moment, the whole casino thing, the moment Arjun Das gets in, Adik's conviction to his wacky ideas, like just for that alone, and how boss of the walls he goes with it, I enjoyed it a lot, right? The entire animation sequence, right? It's ridiculous, but somehow because they commit to it so hard, like I was going nuts in the theater. Okay, so for me, in that sense, I enjoyed it a lot. There were certain things that didn't completely work for me, but overall, right, I enjoyed this a lot more than like the last what since I can't even remember.
2016?
Yeah, I think this is the
2016
most,
Vedalo?
well, probably this is the most fun I've ever had, right? So for me, it was amazing. But of course, as a film, there's a few things. So like I said, the first like 30 minutes, it just feels like, okay, what's going on kind of a thing, and not in the best way. Um, Once the film gets going, it's like fun. And also I felt like the need to like shove in emotions here, although I understand why, it was like really sloppy. Even in Marken, it was flat, but the emotions here were just like not there at all. So that really didn't click for me. And one thing I felt is there are certain times I felt like Adik was holding a little bit back on as quirky as he could get, and I felt like it was just not enough time taken to write the film. Because I think with Mark Antony, they would have, I think he spent about a year and a half. But with this, if you look at the timeline, it's probably like 6 months or so. And even in that, to see how much is cram packed into it, it's like it's brilliant. But still, like there are certain things like for me, a big letdown was the fact that that Jamie character, right, was not used enough for me. Like, okay, Johnny is there, but Johnny is just Arjun Das being Arjun Das, right? When you have someone like Jamie who's like doing all sorts of weird stuff, saying lines like "Why na?" because you kill my Naina. Like, I wanted more of that, but kind of left a bit. You see, and also I felt like the action choreo could have been a lot betterly done. I mean, when you have like such wacky locations, like exotic locations, and you have the budgets, I think you could have really spent a lot more time because people say, okay, Ajit has all these surgeries, he can't do action. But if you look at Vidamuyachi, the only good thing for me was he was doing really impressive choreography in terms of action, right? And if you had put maybe even like half of that into this, it would have been even more of a blast, right? So even though the film like has its flaws, it worked just enough for me, right? Um, Anyone have any cross thoughts that you wanna attack me for anything?
ஆமா அந்த ஆதிக் வந்து கதைக்கு டைம் போடலன்னு சொன்னீங்க. அவரு டைமே போடல இந்த படத்துக்கு. ஆனா என்ன
கதையே
கதை இருக்கு?
எழுதலடா.
அதான் பிரசன்டாவே சொல்லிட்டாருல்ல.
The film
கதை
actually
கடைசி
like a
Yeah,
film at all. It's like it feels like a fan edit for me. Like just 3 hours of reels, that's all. This is not a film.
but what I
And I don't
admire, right, is he committed to the fact that it's wacky. Because like if you take a film like Goat, which was kind of similar in the sense, okay, it's just wacky nonsense. They at times take themselves too seriously, but then there's also ridiculousness happening. Like things don't make sense. So that clash was there. But here, it like throughout the film doesn't try to be smart. So that was one thing I appreciated.
No, it does because there is unnecessary family drama that is like dragged into this. It's not just serious. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like if you were going full on unserious, quirky, go with that. But I feel like there was so many unnecessary drama in play here as well, which is again, it reminds me of Goat. It's like an AK version of Goat, to be honest. Just 10 times worse.
ஆனா ஃபேன் பாய் சம்பவம்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஏன்டா இந்த ரெஃபரன்ஸை வச்சே ஓட்டுறீங்க? லைக் லைக் as a fanboy சம்பவம், I think the best one out there in Tamil cinema is வேட்டையாடு விளையாடு by GVM. I just feel like for that particular, like, when I want like a fanboy, if I want to like for my favorite actor, if I want to take a movie, I probably want to come up with a
Yeah,
story that will show the, like, what I want to see. Like, I'm just saying. It's my point of view. I mean, it's fine for the reference, but அதை வச்சு எல்லாரும் ஓட்டுற மாதிரி நம்ம சினிமா அதோட ஜான்ராவே ஆக்கிட்டோம் இப்ப இல்லையா?
So I think like with that, right, when it comes to Kamal Hassan, his co-audience, his co-fans are people who expect a film like Vettadu Vilayadu. They expect that kind of like really smart, well like written and well done film. But if you take a look at like a lot of AK fans, I mean, if you look at the theater celebration itself, it's like the peak example of them being ultra satisfied, right? People just going nuts in theaters. I mean, like if you take guys who might have been around since Dina or like Atagasam, that era, who just love him for being an unapologetic badass, this film does that really well. So I think in the context of it being an AK fanboy Sambhavam, it does enough. Could have done a lot more, I felt, as well. But I mean, to compare it to Kamal Hassan, I think for me in that context, in terms of like a superstar fanboy Sambhavam, I'd probably rank Peta as the best. That was just like good fun. Saiju's thinking.
Yeah.
என்னமோ சொல்ல போறான்.
No, bro. I mean, I agree with you. Actually, I agree with you on all points. The conviction that Adik had, that you had to give credits to that, But it's just that what do you say? Like you said, he cram-packed everything into one. He tried to be serious, or he tried to be like at one point it was like a spoof, Like I thought he was trolling Siva. At one point I genuinely thought he was like trolling Siva because Trisha's acting was bad. Like what? Like I don't even know what was she doing. But yeah, like you said, he tried something and it worked to an extent, and it worked for Ajit fans. Like that's the like it has like Ajit's recent films hasn't worked with anyone actually. So this working with Ajit fans and also a lot of the neutral fans, so that's a positive, right? But there's a lot more for him to do in terms of writing like some serious scenes and dialogues, because his dialogue writing is really really bad in terms of serious scenes. அதுல
Yeah,
கடைசியில ஒரு
agreed, agreed.
டயலாக் போட்ட நான் சொன்ன ஒத்த வார்த்தைக்காக ஒரு டயலாக போட்டேன், அதுல எனக்கு முடிஞ்ச படம். Right. So yeah.
I mean, like even like if you compare Mark Andy, the quirkiness of just regular dialogues itself was like nuts. If you take like a lot of SJ Surya's lines, like
He
forget the
killed
fact
it.
that he's SJ Surya performing, just those lines alone are just so bombshell, each one of them.
So I've been telling people, because everyone gives credit to SJ Surya, right? But I'm like, no, but the dialogues, like on the Silk Smitha situation, or like when he's on call with his son, like the son
That
calls
scene
him,
is just nuts in terms of
bro,
writing.
epic, nuts, right? Like he goes like Revati Pollayada, yeah, like he names all the women he had affairs with, and like it's all like crazy stuff, right? But I miss those kind of moments a lot in GBU actually,
Yeah,
because
I mean
like he
that's. I mean,
elevated Ajit a lot.
yeah, I think you could have done that with Jammy's character a lot. I honestly, I get why the whole twin idea is there, but beyond, okay, that being a kind of a shocker and a bit of a callback to Wali, it doesn't do
Bali.
much. Like, I feel like with Jammy, you could just hammer it down a lot more, but
I mean, he did kind of touch that hallucination bit. That was
yeah,
actually
yeah,
was nice. ஆனா அதுக்கப்புறம் அதை continue பண்ணிருந்துக்கலாம்.
Jackie
yeah,
Shroff laughing gas, அதுவும் அவன் அந்த ஃபுல்லா எடுக்கல. Like it was like he touched upon it. It was really quirky and weird, but he didn't really touch upon it, like the Jackie Shroff with the whole laughing gas thing.
yeah. I
So
feel like there's a lot of the film that they've shot, but not released on the big screen because a lot of places it feels like a quick jump, and I feel
mm,
like they might be on the edit table, you might have more footage of this, but they just wanted to make it as quick as short as possible. Because I remember seeing a while back that the film is 20 minutes longer than the cut we got, and then suddenly they just cut it down. So I don't know, we had better scenes in there, but yeah.
I
um
think the timing worked for the movie
yeah,
though.
yeah. I mean, it's
It
it's a
really
just a
worked.
matter of okay, this or that kind of a thing. But yeah. So before we move on to other elements of the film, how would you rate the film out of five? Since I'm on Twitter a lot and Twitter loves Letterbox, we're going out of five ratings. Drop your ratings for this film,
I put 2.5 for this movie. ஆமா.
Saiju.
Go with like a 1.
Oof, oof, gosh. Actually,
Retro
2.5.
வருதுமா.
2.5 would be the right thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, for
2.5
me as
me.
well, 2.5. And for reference, Vidamunchi was a 2. So that's there, right? Anyway, Vidamunchi is a whole other discussion. But another interesting whole part of this film was the fact that G.V. Prakash did the music, right? I mean, usually for this kind of film with a big star and it being a celebration, you expect someone like Anirudh to automatically take the helms. And initially it was DSP, which makes sense. But then suddenly you had them switch to GV. What did you think of GV's work throughout this entire film, from the songs and background score? Let's start with Dharani. Sorry. She was சும்மா order mix
Okay,
பண்ணிருவோம்.
so not to attack GV or anything, but honestly, it's just like a mix of GV, Ilayaraja, and Vidyasagar in this film as composers, because honestly it just felt suffocating to the point where we had, okay, like 1 to 2 vintage songs, all right, but this was just stuffed with like a mix of GV's work, and then there's all these, older songs and placed here and there, and it's just such a mess. But if I were to talk about GV's work, it's all right. I know that a few, like, one of my friends has also worked on it, so I'm gonna be a little biased with that. But like, I really like Pal Dabba's track. I like that they used Darky on a track, and yeah, it was not bad. It was all right. Yeah, they could have not used so many vintage songs. That's my opinion.
Given that GV came the last minute, right? That's what was said, right? So I think for that given time, I feel like he did a decent job. Because I mean, initially I didn't like his this GBU album, to be honest, but அதுக்கப்புறம் like the OG someone kind of grew on me right now, so I'm like, okay. But like Dharani said, yeah, they did overuse the vintage songs. But then, in the படத்துக்கு, I was like, I would give it a pass. It was actually made it enjoyable, like the way like Arjun Das and that Simran's Adana Priya to song, that was actually really nice. So it did keep me engaged with the movie at that part. So அதனால I would say it was okay. But GV கொடுத்த டைமுக்கு, I think he did a decent job, is what I feel.
Saiju?
Honestly, I would actually like to differ from Dharani's opinion here because without the vintage songs, I think the movie would have sucked even more for me because GV and Adik screaming AK in between just was like annoying as shit. I'm so sorry for swearing. But actually, the vintage songs, some of it didn't make sense. The Kamal Haasan song at the beginning,
Mhm.
the New Year song, that made no sense. But Otaruba really worked for me. I think that was a banger. And as for GV's work, before the thing, it was like the OG Sambam எல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் okay இருந்துச்சு. But after the movie, it kind of worked. It grew on me, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, okay, but honestly, this movie deserved Anirudh. Like, he would have elevated the movie to another level. Either ways, I feel like they didn't really use Ajit's vintage tracks, like remix Ajit's vintage tracks, because there was like a lot, because that would have added more. Because
I remember
Talapola
I
Vaduma,
hearing that they were going to remix Vatti Kuchi, but yeah.
I heard that as well. I was waiting for it. And Talapola Vaduma would have been, for me, that is like the OG Tala song, right? So I kind of missed that. But other than that, yeah, I think he did okay with the time frame.
Mm. Yeah, for me also, like, I wouldn't say it's like the best album ever, but given the time frame, it's pretty impressive. And for me, the album was like here or there until I saw the film. And once you saw the film, okay, with the visuals,
Yeah.
it works good enough. Um, but I think what GV's, I think in general for GV Prakash, he works best when he has like very story driven films. Like if you look at his best works, even from last year, what he did with Amaran and Lucky Bhaskar, like those are really strongly story driven films, and like he's more trying to complement the story than the star. I think that's his like really strong skill set. And when it comes to songs, he's more of a melodic kind of person than elevation tracks and such. So it was a little bit out of his comfort zone actually. So given all that, he's done all right. um I think OG Sambhavam, yeah, was fun enough. Right now, Ranagalam is doing quite the rounds as well. I've seen a lot of the fandom has picked up that song quite heavily. I think also I remember someone talking about comparing Vidamirchi and this and saying that, okay, it would have actually been more apt for GV to score for that and Anirudh to score for this because that's a more story driven thing and this is more this thing. Because even in that, even the so called elevation tracks, if you really look at them, it's just a general motivational song. It's not really pumped
I
for.
mean, bro, Patikucha is like,
No,
Patikucha.
it's
come
It's
on,
no,
good.
bro.
I love it as a gym song. It's been on loop for ages, but if you really look at it, it's not okay what your typical fans expect from that kind of track in terms of lyrics and stuff. You look at a song like Hukum, or even Hunter Vantar from last year, like it lifts up the star so much. It has its element of connecting to the story, but it also lifts the star and ties in a lot more. I think in that case, the swap would have made more sense. But I guess given everything, it worked. I think as for the vintage songs, I think some of it worked, some of it didn't. Like Saiju said, Ilamai though didn't. I didn't really get the whole necessity for it. I mean, that entire sequence for me just felt poorly cut. Also, that's a whole different thing. But I think Ottaru Baitare and Sultana worked pretty fun. But beyond that, it was disappointing because you have like a lot of people don't realize how golden albums um, AK has in the past. Like for me, right now, still an all-time favorite is Red. Like just the amount of songs and like the different kinds of songs you're getting is absolutely insane. And I was actually surprised because Adik is someone who likes Red and he's referenced that quite a lot, but there wasn't any audio reference to it, so that was a bit of a letdown. So, anyways, now um this is has now a lot of people, a lot of fans feel this sort of as a rebirth for AK. Like the entire 2025 is like his year Mari thing. You have two releases after 3 years of nothing. He is killing it in the race circuit. Um, he's made one so-called content film and one mass masala film. Um, what do you think? Okay, going forward, there's no official confirmation of what projects he signed. There are a few rumors going around, but what do you think AK's next film should look like? Let's start with Saiju, since you are the senior Aamais here.
Just give it to Case. Just give it to Case. Just let the man take over. Because I'm done with this whole, the exaggerated actions or the underwhelming actions. And please, AK, like if he ever hears this, please don't get involved. Let the director do his work. Like honestly, like that is something like he needs to learn on his own. Because every time you get involved, like, சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல ஆமை பூந்த வீடு அது மாதிரி, like, don't just like let the director do his work. You call up a director, you call up Magil, and pretty much like what you did to Magil was like it's really messed up. Because this guy is one of a, like, I love Magil's work. Taderataka was, when I watched it back in the days itself, I still go to it, like that kind of film. And then you tell him to make Vidamuyachi, and you take HV Note, you bring him from Dhiran, and then you tell him to make Valime or NKP or whatever, like, and don't do that stuff. Like, let the directors make what are the movies that they have made. Like, if you bring a director for a movie that he has made, so let him make it. So it has to be KS, because I don't believe in Adik again would elevate him, because I think, or maybe after a gap, like give Adik time to write a movie for like 2 years or something, work on another movie and come back. Because Adik deserves a chance, yeah, sure. But KS deserves a chance, Muggle deserves a chance, because AK has to explore. If he's going to do masala or commercial movies, then he has to do something that will show the action in different directors' views. Like Eni Arindal was an action movie, but it had a different budget, right? And Vedalam was very different. So we need, and that was in the same year, actually, back to back. I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2015 and 2016. So that was like really good, because you watch Eni Arindal and you watch Vedalam. So you mix it up like that. So if you're gonna make another movie, it has to be something like a KS movie, and then you go back to Adik again, or the Prashant Neel movie, like, hopefully. But yeah.
I'm not believing it till I see the official confirmation.
Bro, if that happens, I'm coming down to Sri Lanka. I'm going to India to watch it, bro.
It'll
Like,
be a
no
field
kidding.
day.
I need to experience that.
That'll be absolutely nuts.
I need
But
to experience.
yeah. So Sharmika, who do you think? What do you think Ajit should do
No,
next?
no, Ajit Farnala, I don't have much expectation to this thing, but maybe
Surya
Cinema
அடுத்த
Padam
படம்
just for
இருக்கு
the
மாமா.
lols. எங்க சூர்யாக்கெல்லாம் படம் இருக்கு, உங்க ஆளுக்கு படம் இருப்பான்னு தான் தெரியாது இப்ப. சும்மா இருங்க. No, but maybe what about Siva? Just for the lols.
வன்மத்திலே இருக்கிறீங்க.
Jokes,
கங்குவா
but
2
yeah,
இன்னும்
like
பாக்கி இருக்கு.
ஐயோ அதெல்லாம் நடக்காது. அது confident. அது Surya, I don't think he'll go. He's very scared even for retro even. I don't see him doing much promotions from his
ம்.
side, right? But off topic. But yeah, maybe like Sai said, another chance for Marvel Thirumanyan to do actual content-based movies. I want more content-based movies from AK. That's it. எனக்கு இந்த மாசெல்லாம் வேணாம்.
No, forget about content. I don't think he's going to make it again. Saying after Vidamuyachi's success, I don't think he'll think about content ever again. செஞ்சான்னா salary கொடுக்க வேண்டியதுதான்.
தாரணி.
I mean, same, like, I don't want mass masala films from him anymore. Like, I want to see him in something like Enne Arindal, because like Enne Arindal is like one of my most favorite films. So I think that works best for Tala in general. So I would like to see him in something like that.
So for me, I think one of those strong names is Karthik Subbaraj. Um, Granted, he doesn't try to also social message with the film, which is sometimes he does. I would just want to be a fun, unapologetic action film in Karthik Subbaraj's style. Another name that's been popping up is Venki Atluri, who directed Lucky Bhaskar last year. So I think somewhere in some press meet also, Dulquer Salman mentioned that it's Venki's dream to direct AK as well. So that might be a very interesting film as well. Go across borders, get a Telugu director also to try and see what can be done. That might be pretty interesting. And as for Adik, like Saiju said, I think it's definitely going to happen. There's definitely going to be a reunion, but I'd like him to take time, write a full proper script, and then come back to AK. And like, because I think he's shown okay he can do ultra mass. So now I wanted to come back and give us another Mark Antony in terms of one of the most smartly written commercial films of recent times. And as for the Prashant Neel project, if that happens, I mean, that's it. I'll be wilding like crazy.
சின்ன கையிலே பிடிக்கல அது.
I'll be
You won't see me for a week. I'll be in theaters for a week. You won't see me.
Yeah. Put a tent outside the theater. That's the only option. But yeah, that would be amazing. But also I think more than like the directors is one thing, but also I think in general I hope this, but I want a lot more dedicated writers to be there in Tamil cinema to write really good scripts. I think like an example of like a really good example of this is Lucifer, which is Mohanlal and Prithviraj, directed by Prithviraj, but it was written by Murali Gopi. So Prithviraj, all he's worried about is doing the most stylistic depiction of a really well-written script. Empuran not working is a whole other thing, but like I think something like that might be really solid. But yeah, let's hope for the best. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us on very, very, very last minute notice. Literally, I think 30
Thank
minutes
you.
before was when I texted Sharmika, but they answered the call. Hope you guys enjoyed the video as well. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the stuff, follow our socials. And hopefully we'll see you guys again. Our feature on Masala Thoughts is also pending. So whenever that happens, it should be good fun. Until then, it is us signing off.